my name is Natalie Martin, and I'm a student at San Joaquin Delta College in the Education 12, Section 70018 class, and this is my lesson plan presentation number 2. My lesson plan is entitled Explicit Phonics Instruction with an emphasis on long vowels and short vowels. The topic of my small group activity is an emphasis on the cognitive and language domain area, and my activities follows as such. Students will be able to recognize sounds and spelling patterns from the core reading curriculum and scope and sequence that is appropriate for a 3rd grade class. Students will be able to promote consistency across the core curriculum and intervention and use keywords from the core reading curriculum for each sound. Students will be able to verbally say the correct sounds and independently repeat it without assistance from the teacher. Students will write rows of sounds, including some already known sounds, interspersed with a new sound. Students will be able to identify new letters and sounds while writing it and saying it out loud. For my small group activity, there are some materials needed for the activity. This includes a whiteboard and Expo markers for each student, note cards, pens, and an Elem box worksheet that each student will have at their desk. For teacher material, what was needed is access to the core reading curriculum scope and sequence and a list of words of all the vocab words. For my activity, the lesson will open up with a sound review where the teacher will review 5 sounds and spelling patterns from last week's material. The teacher will write out the sounds on the whiteboard and students will read each sound as a class to review. Students will then write the sounds on their own whiteboards and read the sound to their partner to ensure correctness and confidence in the sound. After the sound review, the teacher will transition into sound introduction, specifically the reading portion. The teacher will write out letters, uppercase and lowercase, representing the new sounds on the class whiteboard. Students will practice the different sounds and understand the relationship of long vowels and short vowels. Students will write out 3 to 4 rows of sounds, with the students copying the writing on a sheet of paper. Students will read the sounds together from left to right while following along with their pointer finger. Students will keep the paper with the correct letter sounds with keywords as a reference guide that can be used in later activities. With this sound review, the teacher will now identify new letter sounds verbally while students write out the letter they hear. Students will say the sounds as well to themselves or to a partner while writing it out. The teacher will review the correct answers of this activity at the end, where students will put an X through the air and rewrite it correctly so they know where they're struggling with and they know where they can improve. With this review of reading and spelling, students will use their Elem sound box worksheets by writing out words that have 2, 3, or 5 different sounds. The teacher will say the word while the students segment each word, and this will be collected and graded at the end by the teacher. If I were to have a student that has special needs and an accommodation for the class, such as having a cochlear implant or being hard of hearing, this means that the student would have a specific amount of hearing loss that would put them at a risk of feeling isolated in the learning environment. Some accommodations that I could do are to ensure specialized seating so the student can sit in the front of class and hear my voice throughout the lesson. Additionally, I can collaborate with my school district to make sure that the student has the necessary assistive devices, such as a wireless assistive listening device and a microphone for myself that can be heard that can Bluetooth and sync to the student's listening device. Another accommodation that I could do is that during the activities where I verbally say the sound words, I could have those words written on note cards that can be placed on the student's desk at the same pace that I say the words so the student can follow along. And lastly, for the Elem sound activity worksheet, this will be conducted differently by the student having a list of words to write out instead of just hearing them, and to segment the words just based on seeing the word itself. And I can also do a shorter list of words and break this into more digestible material. I designed this activity in order to ensure phonemic awareness for the 3rd grade classrooms and to practice being able to hear words and differentiate from long vowels to short vowels, such as the vowel of tap or such as the vowel of tape, for students to understand that and hear the difference, that they can take what they've learned and implement it into their other subjects. Thank you so much for listening to my lesson plan activity.